Hello, friends. This is Professor Googlov. Today's video will be a little unusual, but I'm sure you will like it. So, get comfortable and let's go. Osprey. If you've ever seen an airplane perform a low-altitude flyover, then you know how exciting it can be. Take this Cessna, for example. It almost hit a man filming what was going on. But when it comes to military aircraft, there's one place that immediately comes to mind. A place known for spectacular displays. Machloop. This network of valleys in west-central Wales is the perfect place to conduct a low-altitude overflight training course for high-speed aircraft. On June 20, 2019, one aircraft fan was lucky enough to film a U.S. Air Force Osprey aircraft doing a training flyby of Machloop. You've probably seen these airplanes in the game Call of Duty. But to witness an Osprey in person is just incredible. There is something strange about seeing this war machine flying through the picturesque English landscape. Our cameraman tries to take as many shots as possible as the Osprey flies past him. And you can see how fast the Osprey flies as the aircraft approaches a person. Eventually, the plane disappears behind the mountain. We hope it comes back. According to the U.S. Air Force, the Osprey is designed for evacuations and special forces supply missions. It is a convert-a-plane that can land and take off like a helicopter and fly like an airplane. Ospreys can carry more than 50 people and 5 tons of supplies. The plane also has a .50 caliber machine gun mounted on a loading dock just in case. The price tag on it is about $90 million. Engine fire. On a seemingly ordinary day in November 2019, a Philippine Airlines plane took off from Los Angeles Airport and headed for Manila, the capital of the Philippines. But minutes after takeoff, passengers heard strange noises coming from the right engine. A woman sitting on the left filmed the plane taking off from the runway. Then the worst fears became reality. The plane takes off, but only a few seconds pass and we hear a thumping sound coming from the other side. The passengers aren't stupid and they know it's not good. Whatever it is, it shakes the entire airplane. Then one of the passengers says the last thing one wants to hear: fire. People get up and look out the porthole, and our couple can't see anything from their seats. There is a fire in the right engine, but everyone remains surprisingly calm. According to the woman with the camera, the pilot and crew did an excellent job of keeping the passengers calm. They knew what was going on and reported that the plane was turning around. The woman said most people were praying silently as the plane was full of Catholic Filipinos. Unfortunately, one woman and a man fainted and were treated as soon as the plane landed. Flying under the bridge. Acrobats are amazing in their skills. However, aerial acrobats are acrobats in a cube. These men and women who perform death-defying stunts can do crazy things in the air. Things that ordinary people like us wouldn't even dream of. On May 1, 2016 in Budapest, Hungary, 3 stunt pilots set out to break a world record. It's not exactly clear what kind of record it was. Probably the record for the largest number of airplanes flying under a bridge at one time. Let's see if they succeeded. Our pilots have approached the chain bridge spanning the Danube River. The announcer addresses the crowd, perhaps explaining the record they are trying to break. The pilots maintain a tight formation, but something is wrong with the airplane to our right, their left. It seems to be dangling up and down, with the planes about a meter above the water. Just as the air aces fly over the bridge, the wobbly airplane plunges into the water. Fortunately, the pilot regains consciousness and joins the formation to finish the show. In slow motion you can see how close he was to the crash. The bridge played an important role in the lives of the people of Hungary. It was the first permanent bridge over the Danube River, connecting the west and east sides of the city, which were named Buda and Pest. In 2001, a Hungarian stunt pilot named Peter Bessany became the first person to fly under the bridge upside down. According to the media, this stunt is a common maneuver in today's Red Bull air races. Everest. When you climb Everest, you don't just start walking from the bottom. You start from one of 2 base camps on either the north or south side of the mountain. The North Base Camp is in Tibet at just under 5,100 meters above sea level, while the South Base Camp is in Nepal at 5,250 meters above sea level. The south side is the more popular route. Most amateur climbers fly into Tenzing and Hillary Airport, Lukla Airport, in Tibet to reach the South Base Camp. The airport is considered the most dangerous airport in the world. Lukla is located at an altitude of 2,700 meters above sea level. Only an experienced pilot will be able to land safely on the 510 meters long runway. Our pilots approached the runway on a clear April afternoon. It looks so small from afar. Imagine the precision required to land safely every time. One wrong calculation and the plane could crash into the Himalayas. The wheels have touched the runway and the airplane bounces slightly, but all in all, it's another perfect landing by these pilots. From the ground we got some amazing footage of the plane landing and turning around to park. The airport was built in 1964 and named after Sir Edmund Hillary, who was the first person to climb Mount Everest, who bought the land from the locals. In 2008, the airport was renamed after Tenzing Norgay, the Sherpa who helped Hillary climb the mountain in 1953. Hurricane hunters. Hurricane Fiona was the first major hurricane of the 2022 Atlantic hurricane season. Most hurricanes hit Florida, but Fiona made its way north of the Atlantic Ocean, hitting eastern Canada on September 24. Getting hurricane data is dangerous work, and that's where the 53rd Weather Reconnaissance Squadron from Keesler Air Force Base comes in. They're called hurricane hunters, and for good reason. These brave men fly into the eye of the storm and send critical data home to the National Hurricane Center in Miami. In September 2022, hurricane hunters flew toward Fiona as she passed by the U.S. Virgin Islands. The hunters fly into the eye as rain begins to drip on their C-130J Super Hercules airplanes. The sky is clear, but we think it's because the pilots are flying above the storm to gather atmospheric data. We get more ominous footage as the plane approaches Fiona's eye. You can see circular patterns in the clouds, and a radar shot of the inside of the plane tells us everything we need to know about the hurricane. Hurricane hunters came about in 1943 when two Army Air Corps pilots had a drink and challenged each other to see who would fly through a hurricane. Major Joe Duckworth became the first man to fly through a hurricane on July 27, 1943, and his flight paved the way for the way we track hurricanes today. Landing in Turkey. A non-stop flight from Milan, Italy to Istanbul takes just under 3 hours. It's a common trip for Turkish Airlines, as vacationers from both countries often seek to visit their neighbors. But on April 25, 2015, for the 102 passengers and crew aboard Flight 1878, the journey was anything but ordinary. The Airbus A320 landed in Istanbul at 10:30 a.m. Before it could touch down on the runway, the plane rolled and hit the ground with its right landing gear, damaging the wing and fuel line. The pilot had to turn back and then chaos ensued. A passenger noticed a fire in the starboard engine as the pilot sent the airplane to land. You can see smoke and flames billowing out the side as the airplane slid down the runway. Damage to the right landing gear caused the plane to spin. It made a complete 180-degree turn before finally coming to a stop. Fire trucks rush to the scene and emergency exits are opened. Fortunately, no one was injured in the crash. The pilots blamed the incident on the wake turbulence left by the plane that landed in front of them. Track turbulence is an atmospheric disturbance created by passing airplanes. It consists mainly of wing-tip vortices that look like sideways cyclones. They can exist for up to 3 minutes after the airplane has landed. The moral of the story is keep your distance. Well, as I promised, the video was interesting. So, subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.